Agriculture is literally the backbone of so many communities, Bafetu. Like, it's way bigger than just farming crops. It's about food on our tables, people getting jobs, families surviving, and whole communities building better futures. But if you actually sit down and talk to farmers, especially young and emerging farmers, you quickly get to realize that this life is not as easy as people think it is.
My name is Bertie Huggett. I am the CEO of our agribusiness for First National Bank. And yeah, this morning is really about just showcasing and chatting a little bit about, small, medium enterprise business and specifically to agriculture, what F&B is doing. And as you might experience, that agriculture is a tough environment to try and get into.
So you guys can guess what is the biggest challenge that farmers are facing today? Funding. Yeah, imali. Farming is expensive. So when farmers don't have proper financial support, it becomes very difficult to grow. And with fuel prices and input costs constantly increasing, a lot of farmers are just trying to survive instead of scaling up their businesses.
We are sitting with challenges in terms of input cost currently for the next planting season. We're sitting with a diesel price that have increased by more than 50% in 2 months. We're sitting with the devastation floods in the Eastern Cape, the Western Cape, everywhere. So there's a lot of challenges. Apart from that, then, we come to grain prices, which is at low levels. So that cost squeeze is real. And if you think it's real for commercial farmers, it's just more amplified for small-scale farmers. We know farmers are price takers, and there's no place where they can transfer that cost to somebody else. And from the input side, also from the offset side. So they need to absorb all these price increases on their own. And, we need to see and make a plan to how we are going to overcome that.
And another thing, farming is one of those few industries where nature can humble you overnight. One unexpected weather change and everything changes. And suddenly, farmers are facing huge losses. A lot of them need better support systems, insurance, and technology to help them adapt. But those things aren't always accessible.
Insurance is often the key to determining how you bounce back from an unfortunate event. So we at F&B have various solutions in place for you, from our comprehensive insurance that covers your assets, it covers your crops, it covers your animals from disease. It's about understanding what it is in the business that you need to protect and what it is that's available. So as the business owner, as the farmer, a lot of the skill, a lot of the knowledge sits with you. So it's important that you too insure yourself. So it's about putting that key man insurance in place to protect your IP. So in the unfortunate event of death, there's insurance that will cover the debt that you've got in your business. It will protect your personal assets as well as your business assets. What goes hand in hand with that is protecting your staff, protecting those people who actually help you succeed. And through simple solutions that we've got in place, like our group funeral policies, ensuring that you're catering not only for your needs, but for those of your employees.
Financial literacy in terms of small-scale farmers, for them to grow and to scale, is a serious problem because finance and capital is actually a key to unlocking value on your farm. The amount of money you have in terms of equity will only take you so far. But if you're able to access further capital, you can expand and you can actually address some of the constraints that you have on your farm. So it is important that you start record keeping. Farmers need to keep a correct record of their financial affairs, understand whether they're profitable, understand where the challenges are when it comes to costs. If it's a season where there is extensive cost, how do you deal with that? So that understanding actually comes from proper budgeting, proper record keeping, and it's just essential also into accessing capital.
Sometimes we undermine some of the stuff. When somebody says bookkeeping or your financials, you think it's such a difficult thing to do because as a farmer, you don't have capital in the bank. But basically, that's not the issue. The issue is show us that money flows into our account. And these F&B guys are like open. They say, come, let's have discussion. Let's see how we can help you.
And Tech Buffet, we all know that one size fits all does not apply in agriculture. Farmer A and Farmer B are never the same, even if they're in the same place. That's why F&B is helping farmers with financial support that actually makes sense for agriculture.
And what we try to do is get historical information to understand how you have been producing, because there are also microclimatic conditions in certain farms where certain things will grow better than your next door neighbor. So we try and look at that using the historical information. So by doing that, you're able to create a bespoke lending solution for that particular farmer and addressing their needs. And I do take into account what you're saying, that there are a lot of questions asked, a lot of back and forth, but it's also for us to gain an understanding and to be able to be comfortable with the risk.
Hey, another thing that's inspiring to see is collaborations between F&B and other institutions like PGP, where they focus on training, improving infrastructure, and opening market opportunities for farmers.
And oftentimes we give talks, we say all of these big things. And somebody who's sitting there who will say to me then, so what? Then I started thinking that perhaps what I needed to do was to start saying, what is it that we have done as PGP? But it's also going to be important to say, let me sit with a farmer and let me hear what your story is. On the basis of that story, then draft a business plan that makes sense. And then we also have researchers. The researchers would look at different crops, different diseases, and say, this is what you need to look out for. And then we do the actual business plan. We look at the entrepreneur themselves and we say, yes, you are passionate. Do you have the skill? What is it that we can do to support you? You are not just a farmer. You're an entrepreneur that is in the farming space. And therefore, when you operate your business, you want to operate it on the basis of you making profit.
And eventually, we need to talk about inclusivity. Women farmers and young emerging farmers still face a lot of barriers, especially around land access and financing.
No, I think you're correct, Tavi. There are a lot of barriers to entry for women in agriculture. And they range. Some of them apply to even emerging farmers themselves. Some of them are very unique to females in the sector. And it goes through to land access. Most commonly in the African culture, some women cannot access land easily. It has to be through an uncle, where they have to go to the chief to ask for land, or it has to be inherited from the husband's side. So that creates some sort of barrier for them to access land. But what is unique with women is that they also have quite a significant role to play in the household. Sometimes if they need to expand in the farm, they also need to put it against what the child needs in terms of going to school. So all those conflicting needs or challenges actually then restrict them from expanding in their farming enterprise. There is not a lot of representation in the agricultural sector for women. As a result, their needs are not being pushed forward. So it's important then that women start collaborating in the sector and also collaborating with other men who also feel that women needs need to be put forward.
At the end of the day, Buffett, agriculture has massive potential in South Africa. And when farmers are supported properly, they don't just feed communities. They create jobs, build businesses, strengthen the economy, and help secure the future of food security in our land.
I think, unfortunately, the numbers and the statistics on the contribution of small-scale farmers is still lacking. We must really work on that. But the reality is the employment that they bring to the South African economy, we mustn't underestimate that. But what we can see is the moment things is tough in agriculture, you see it in the local economies. You see it in the small towns because that's where small-scale farmers spend their money, is in the local towns. We must also remember is that today you might be a small-scale farmer. Tomorrow you're part of the commercial side. And that's where the PGP success story is so great. They migrate them from subsistence to small scale to commercial.
As F&B, we are committed to transformation. This we show through the type of products that we have, the collaborations that we have with other commodity organizations, as well as the government. And it's this evidence that we're very hopeful about the agricultural sector in South Africa, and in particular, Black farmers. We've seen so many farmers move from small scale to commercial just from the support that we've been able to provide. Evidence of that is what we've done with the Citrus Growers Association, where we've actually funded a lot of farms who needed to expand their orchards, who needed infrastructure in order for them to commercialize. So as a result, I would say definitely, resolutely, that we are very hopeful. We're very confident about the growth of transformation, and it's something that's an imperative. We need to do it in this country.